Welcome to Home411, where you've asked and we've answered. I'm your host, Linda Businger, and creator of this crazy show, and founder of Restoration and Design Pros, where I specialize in historic properties, and Velvet and Pine Home Design, where we design luxury to Mother Nature with the focus on sustainable interior designs. Here on the show, we cover everything from renovating to decorating, permits and planning, and experts in insurance, mortgages, and even real estate. Be sure to visit our website, velvetandpine.com. Now, let's start the show. Well, we know that real estate is crazy, and it's still pretty daggone crazy in Florida. So we sat down with Tanner Tillung from Coldwell Banker. They've sold over $200 million in real estate just this year. No better person to sit down and talk to. Find out what's hot, where everybody's buying, what's the next upcoming town you should be looking at. You won't believe it. And also, if you're following us on your favorite platform for a podcast, you'll get some bonus content. So let's see what he had to say. Do you do a lot of, like, what is your specialty? Because I feel like what I know about you and following you is global, like a lot of, out of country or even, out of state coming here.
Yeah.
What do you feel like is your sort of specialty? Yeah.
Yeah. So we focus on marketing to the masses, making the largest footprint possible for our listings. And that takes a global presence when you're marketing some of these multi-million-dollar properties on, Clearwater Beach or downtown Tampa or Davis Island. A lot of these waterfront homes, it's a specific buyer that's looking for that type of property. So we look at ourselves as the
They're
matchmakers, so we can bridge that gap so they can find exactly what they're looking for. Because within a local economy, not everyone is capable of buying, your $10 million plus condo
Right.
penthouse, so you
Right.
do have to expand your reach, and through our marketing and retargeting and our presence on social media and touching, the people that can afford these type of properties, that's kind of what separates us from the rest of the real estate industry. We really focus on that perfect buyer pool for that perfect buyer, or for that perfect listing when we're listing it, or if we represent the buyer that say is looking for, a gated community, then we reach out to the community owners within the homeowners association, and we'd find some of these products without going on the MLS, so we can, matchmake.
Right. And I think that because you sold, you found a home for friends of mine. And I think they were really shocked that they could get 7 acres in Florida. So I just feel like people are going inland a little more, right? I mean, is that more communities are being built inland? So, like, what's the next upcoming place that we don't know about yet?
So statistically, within Lakeland is the fastest, Polk County is one of the
Lakeland.
fastest growing metropolitan areas within the state.
Okay. Is
Pasco
there affordable
County,
housing there, or
it's
is it
more
just $10 million
affordable and
houses?
newer construction, because Pinellas County is the most densely
Yeah.
populated county within the state. So therefore, if you want a new construction home, you either have to knock it down or move east or south or north of Pinellas County.
Because we're full. We're
Yeah.
full. Yeah. Some of the places aren't really. Okay, I just wanted to. I understand that you studied with Tony Robbins.
Yes.
Tell me
I'd hear that.
about that, and how do you bring that? Like, what did you take away from that?
It's been a while because I was in their university program when I was 14. I went to the one where you walk on fire with my family.
Oh, wow.
And after
Okay.
that, I was intrigued about the health benefits and also the business mindset that he teaches. So took the whole university program and studied in Fort Lauderdale and Arizona and a couple other places with him. And I think what excited me most about it was the mindset and surrounding yourself with people that can continue to uplift your health, well-being, and your business, so you can be the highest functioning being that you can as an individual. So that's what excited me about it.
And do you? Because I know that you do some team building. you know?
Yes. Yeah.
And so do you incorporate that, or did you sort of create your own?
I mean, any mentorship program that I studied in the past has benefited where we are today, but Tony Robbins was kind of a start of, I guess, the mindset of how to build a business and how to create a community. And so I've definitely used a lot of his criteria for mindset and business development.
Well, and I know a lot of people were kind of tired of hearing the words imposter syndrome, but how we were taught, I mean, sounds like sort of the same thing here is that you're supposed to feel like you're an imposter because you're not supposed to be the smartest person in the room, right? So if you really are hanging out with people who can teach you or guide you, then you're already going to feel a little bit uncomfortable about feeling like you don't fit in. So I tell people if you do feel like that, then that's a good thing, right? You feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a couple. So I'm a personal design advisor, and which means kind of made that up, but it just means that we help everybody from basically idea to design, permitting to planning to the end of the project. A lot of realtors bring me in to show their clients what a house could look like. You can tear this wall down, or you can go up and add on, or and this is how much it's going to cost you. And if you're going to move in 2 years, then just do this. If you're going to stay here for 10, 20 years, if you're going to have kids, then you can do these things. So realtors bring me in. What other sort of services do you advise your buyers to sort of, because they're new to Florida, they haven't been here. Do you have people like that? Did you
Of
bring in, or
course.
that you, okay.
Yeah. So a lot of our we look at ourselves as advisors as well. So when people are buying specifically in Pinellas County, that's not the perfect home for them.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of vendors that
70-year
can,
old house, 80-year-old house, a lot of those. Yeah.
right. So we can bring in a lot of our vendors to, recreate or create that vision that they're looking for, whether it be a new kitchen or bathroom, flooring,
Mm-hmm.
so on and so forth. And a lot of what we do is an analysis on if you were to put in that kitchen, how much could you sell that house for? And is this a good investment for you and your family? Does it fit your lifestyle needs? Do you want a boat in the back of your house, or do you want to play golf every day? Do you want walkability to restaurants? And those are all
Right.
questions that we ask so we can better understand what communities would best serve our clients.
Well, and I say that because, especially now, because the virus, there was sort of a stop on construction. So a lot more people are looking at the 1970s house and the 1980s house. And so you really have to, be able to visually explain to people, what it's going to look like. And I noticed that was part of sort of what you guys do. You're almost like a full package.
Right.
Does that make sense?
And also with our listings, there's a lot of people that would go on to the listing and they press the button and they list it. But most of our sellers need the consultative approach on what can they do to maximize their net equity, because you only get one shot when
That's
you're
right.
listing your home, right? So whether it be staging, painting, moving furniture around, there's a lot of
Yes.
things that can
Moving furniture out.
make or break the sale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Decluttering is
Yeah,
huge.
it is huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I had some statistics here. Oh, I have a question for you. Okay. So, I worked with my older sister for 20 years. Um, how is it working with your mom and the whole generation thing? And more about like how you used to do real estate versus how you do it now, and especially because you're so tech savvy.
Sure.
How does that work out?
I think it's great. We have both generations of, I mean, she has a wealth of knowledge on how to sell real estate and what what she has done in the
Did she
past.
say this is old school?
Well, yes, we use both, and that's
Okay.
what's benefits our clients because she's huge into print marketing and magazines and reaching out to past clients, throwing events, and so on and so forth. And now I am as well. And then I bring more of a tech savvy background, video, photo marketing, and then retargeting atmosphere for our clients so they can get the maximum exposure when they list their
Right.
property so they can get the most money.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the idea, right?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, she's pretty cool. I really like following her, what she's doing. Um, so I think people need your help. So other than traditional mortgage brokers, I mean, you have to be starting to get creative in helping people even get loan. Not, you know what I mean? These are other options for loans. Is there something that you can share? Other options for people besides, we love our mortgage broker, but
Yeah, the
sometimes we don't.
classical
Right,
conventional loan.
exactly. Yeah.
Yep. So a lot of our clients are using bridge loans, which are a different company out there that allows them to purchase the property at a low upfront cost in the beginning,
Okay.
and they move into the next property. We prepare that house for sale. And then once they're ready to move into their next property, then we move them to the next home. They carry that property for roughly 30 to 60 days while we list it, because on average, our listings only sit for 45 days. So then we transition them to their new home, and
Okay.
then we list it and sell their property within a 60-day period. Then they recast the loan, which allows them to, they do have to carry two mortgages, but this product will allow them to move to their next destination without uh, having no place to go if they sell their home. So there's always that matchmaking, like I
Right.
talked
Oh,
about
yeah.
before. You don't want to sell your house before you have before you understand where you're going to go next. So that's one scenario. There's a lot of people paying cash right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would say at least 40% of our clients are purchasing them with cash, specifically in the waterfront, so they don't have to pay flood
Oh,
insurance.
right. Mm-hmm.
So we call it self-insure.
Yep.
We bought a house on Clearwater Beach, or also Bel Air Beach, and both of those properties we decided to self-insure because the flood insurance only covers up to $250,000 of repair costs or replacement costs. And a lot of these homes are built in the 50s, and
Mm-hmm.
the structure itself, when you look at it with the insurance company, they're like, "Oh, we're going to give you $50,000 for your whole structure of your house
Right.
if the entire thing floods, even if you update the project." So a lot of people are self-insuring. Different financing options would be, we saw one of the first during COVID.
I
Cryptocurrency
s
purchases.
yes.
So I
Yep.
have yet to be involved in that, but I thought
Okay.
that was very unique
Very
and
interesting. Mhm.
interesting that that type of financing or that type
Right.
of purchasing is happening.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. So sort of touching on the insurance thing, I know that, because we had the insurance guy on here, and he was saying if you have Citizens Insurance, that moving forward, whenever the date is, the magic date of next year, you will still have to buy flood insurance even if you're paid
Yes,
cash for your house. Yeah.
that's what I've heard as well.
So, yeah, so let's
And also, just another nugget that we've seen is if you buy a house that
mhm.
is self-insured and there is no flood insurance that could be assumable. So that rate we found is typically 40 to 50% higher than it would be if you assumed flood insurance from a homeowner that
Right.
currently had flood insurance. So that's something to look at when you're looking to purchase a property. And your agent or whoever you're
Mhm.
advising, or you ask the seller, can I assume your insurance policy, and that'll save
Yep.
you thousands of dollars a year.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Um, Touching on the FEMA part, the flood insurance, and what some people don't understand, the 50% rule is how it works, and I'm sure you do, but I want to make sure that everyone understands because it's federal,
Right.
FEMA rule is that, and this was really a problem here in Florida during the COVID when everything sort of skyrocketed, and maybe it's other places, obviously every other place too, but um, so the 50% rule is just on the actual building.
Structure.
So
Yeah.
right. So for example, I had a property and let's say it was $1 million property. Well, but the house was worth 120,000,
Yep.
because it was a historical home, So when you go to renovate it or restore it like I was doing, so they're like, okay, well, you can have $60,000. That doesn't go very far when you're restoring a house from the 1920s.
Right.
But I knew about it, but I don't think people understand that because they think, oh, okay, my house is worth, and then I'm going to get, be able to spend 500,000, but you can't. So you really have to look at your county or municipality records to see what the value of the actual structure is. And each
Right.
structure has its own value, and that's what they use.
Yep. And then within each city as well, they have different regulations. Like Bel Air
Years.
Beach has 47% or something like that. Dunedin only allows you to do the improvements once throughout the duration of the ownership, from my understanding. And
They
same
have a
with,
5-year rule.
is it 5?
Yeah, Clearwater has a 1-year rule.
1 year, yeah.
But Dunedin decided to do 5 years,
5 years.
which I'm changing if you become historic. If you become an official historic property, because we're Historic Preservation Advisory Committee, then we're going to waive the 5 years and
Great.
try to make it 1. Because if you're historic, you really need to. But Dunedin is really good about, and I'm sure other places are too, if your roof needs to be repaired, they're going to let you fix
Of
your
course.
roof. It's not,
Yeah.
but it is kind of scary though, to think about that. So I was reading about this, so I found this interesting. According to Tampa Bay Economics Council, as of March of 2023, 1,280 people moved to Florida each day. This was so in March. I don't know why they don't have it since March of this year, but it says 4,400,000 people moved in 1 year, and 125,000 of those were from out of the country, which, and they were legal. So don't, say, oh, they came here. But 380,000 moved out of California. So do you are you still, because that was huge back then, New Yorkers in California, do you still feel like they're flocking here? Do you get a
Definitely.
lot of, you do get a lot
Yeah,
of that
so there's a
still?
lot of hedge funds and financial companies that are moving to the Tampa Bay area. And then there's a lot of people from that just work from home that prefer not paying the high prices or the high rent prices, and they would rather buy a house or single family home that they can live in with their family with a yard
That's right.
compared to being
Right.
in a downtown city center. So we've seen that also during COVID. A lot of the cities, not everyone wanted to be in a condo because you're riding in an elevator, but a lot of that has changed just because of the mindset. And, as the virus progressed, people got familiar with, standard procedures living in a condo, and the prices are still escalating.
So besides the no state tax and the sunshine,
Yep.
what are the other reasons people are flocking to Florida?
I would say the investment opportunity.
Oh.
In the past,
I didn't think there was any of those left.
we're still buying a lot of investment properties.
Okay.
I would say 1 in 4 purchasers within the Tampa Bay area within the last 4 years were investors.
Mm-hmm.
They saw the opportunity and the expansion of Tampa Bay still being fairly affordable compared to the Miami, Fort Lauderdale,
Oh,
Dade
that's true.
County
Yeah.
areas. And we still have a lot of room to grow. And baby boomers are tired of shoveling snow, and they would prefer living in the Sunshine State. And I would say the taxes are a big thing. When you make, say, $100,000, I mean, in New York City, that's an extra 12% on top of your,
Right.
income,
Right.
which is substantial for a
It
lot of
is.
people. And if you're trying to survive and thrive in this economy, you want to be able to save as much as possible. And Florida allows you to have that 365 days of sunshine and tax kind of reduced lifestyle. And I would say the goods and services within this area are also high quality. We have sports, definitely. Yeah.
That's huge.
So we have 3
draw.
major teams within the Tampa Bay area, and we're centrally located. I think the Tampa Bay International Airport is definitely a crowd pleaser, top 10 within the United States. And then the lifestyle. If you want to own a boat and don't want to deal with the waves of California or, the Atlantic,
Mm-hmm.
Pacific or the Atlantic, you can have a smaller boat within the Gulf of Mexico and still have a good time and not being like rocks
Yeah,
back
right.
and forth.
40,
So
50, yeah.
it's definitely a fun lifestyle.
Well, I fly back and forth because I live in Virginia as
Yeah.
well as Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay is really for the arts. Like, I live in Loudoun County, which is one of the richest counties in the country. If you're not familiar with Loudoun County, look it up. But they have very little arts and culture. I mean, you got St. Pete, you got Tampa Bay Performing Arts and the orchestra. It's just, I don't think people understand that. It's sort of a big deal. Other cities don't We
Yeah,
have
that's a
it
big anchor.
everywhere. We have
Yep.
it everywhere. And even St. Pete is like as small as St. Pete is compared to Tampa Bay.
Yep.
They have a lot.
They
It's
do.
yeah.
And a lot's that's progressive in the last 3 to 4 years, I think, with um, when Tad, your son, and I were
Mm-hmm.
growing up in Palm Harbor. It was a more of a sleepy town, and not many people
Mm-hmm.
knew about the Tampa Bay. And now it's on the map, so a lot of people with the art background are coming here to express themselves because they can.
That's
Like you
right.
have the Dolly Museum. I mean,
That's
where else are you going to find that
yeah.
within the world?
Yeah.
Chihuly glass.
That's right. All in
Yeah,
walking distance. Yeah, that's true. And then we have this great studio, Collab Studios. You can come
exactly.
and do live
It's
music and do
perfect.
your podcast. Yeah, we love it here. All right, so I gave you enough time to chill. I want to hear some stories. Give me
Sure.
some crazy. I'm sure you have a ton of them. Give me some crazy realtor stories,
So the craziest stories,
and not the one with Elizabeth and Eamon, because
yeah,
that was
that was
crazy.
it wasn't that crazy. I thought it was very exciting for
It
them,
was, and you worked your magic on that. I
that was
know
fun.
they really appreciated that.
But during COVID, there was a lot of interesting stories because real estate has never seen this amount of migration to the state of Florida. So we
Mhm.
had to think creatively on how to find properties for our buyers. And a lot of the time, if you went to the MLS, it was already pending within a couple hours. So
Mhm.
um, what our strategy was with one of our clients, we I'll tell you two stories. So one of them, there was 75 offers on
Oh
one
my god.
property. 75 offers.
Right.
So we have different things that can put our offers at the top of the stack during the negotiation period.
Frenzy.
And so we did our magic of putting it at the top and writing special things within the contract that can help make it more appealing for the seller to look
Nice.
at that prospect. So that was probably the most feeding frenzy buying opportunities that I've ever seen.
Mhm.
And then another situation, we had a lot of out of state buyers that didn't want to get on an airplane because there was no airplanes during,
Oh, right.
COVID.
Mhm.
So one of my buyers calls me up. They've been working with another agent within St. Pete, and they said, "Hey Tanner, I've seen all your videos. I really want to work with you. My agent has failed for time and time again for the last 6 to 8 months of getting me a property. I can't even get anything under contract because they had 3% down for financing. They were FHA,
Okay.
and in that market, you're competing against
Yeah.
cash and
Right.
50% financing and so on and so forth. So we came up with a strategy where we were going to pick, their top 50 homes within the Tampa Bay area, within, the locations that they want to live. So for a week straight, we wrote 50 offers for one client. And then, so we put 5 under contract. They flew in to see the properties, or I think they drove actually. Um, they drove in, we saw the 5 properties, and then they picked the best one. And then now they're on their 4th investment property
Oh
now.
my
They took the equity because everything appreciated in the last 2 years.
Mhm.
They bought 3 other investment properties from the equity, and now they're on their 4th investment opportunity. So
Wow.
it was a huge success story, and we found a lot of clients or buyers that were really frustrated during that market. And even today it's a challenging market to find the right product because we have so little inventory. So we have to think creatively, and a lot of the time we would find neighborhoods that they wanted to live, and then we would reach out to the sellers and say, hey, at what price are you willing to sell, and then put the two people together.
Wow.
So those are a
Yeah.
couple of stories that I
Yeah.
thought were
That's right.
interesting.
Your
And
frenzy.
yeah.
Um, so so you guys, do you think you do 50-50 buyer seller?
Yeah, it has been for the last 6 years. Yeah,
Oh,
50
wow.
50. Yep.
Okay. I just didn't I mean, I don't I've been, obviously, like I said, I invest in real estate, so I haven't seen anything. I know I was trying to buy one for my daughter, and it took, I mean, 6 months to even find something that was worth
Investing in.
making an offer
Yeah.
on, and then or was, gone, and this was recent. And then it came to nobody, you can't get insurance unless it's Citizens right now.
Yep.
So I haven't had Citizens in 17 years. So that's
Yep.
kind of, but we found something. So it was good. And right by Palm Harbor High
Great.
School. I know it'll be perfect. Um, all right. So you have any, say, what do you think is going to be happening into the next season, the next, through winter and into spring? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but
Yeah.
you
So
stay up on things. So,
typically August and July are the slowest months within the state of Florida within real estate.
hmm
Um, that could be kids going back to school, or it's just really hot here. But
yes.
the migration of all the people that live here seasonally, that everyone's here. So if you're about to list your house, now is a great time to sell because there's still limited inventory and there's a lot of buyers like your daughter that can't find exactly what they're looking for. And those people that, price within a realistic realm of, feasibility for the buyers, they're going to get multiple offers on the property, specifically the sellers that prepare their houses for sale. Because we've been seeing that some of these listings are failing to sell because they're not preparing their houses for sale, or they want 25% more than their neighbor that just contracted and
Yeah.
sold 6 months ago.
Right. 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 Yeah.
Yeah,
That's where I come in when people are like, "What do I do to my house in short term to make it, better?"
right.
Um, so I think that I'm hoping that the interest rates will come down.
Me too.
Obviously, everyone is. I mean, really, between the interest rates and the insurance, that's really been sort of a. But what is your average price? Like, just everything I see you doing is usually like really expensive. So, do you
Yeah.
have, like $400,000 houses that you
Yeah, we
sell?
represent every
Okay.
asset class within the Tampa Bay. I mean, in the last 2 years, we had the highest condo sale and also a single family home, but we also sold a $150,000 condo. So we service our clients the same. We don't know how to separate them any different. It's white glove, 5-star service. And we just want to make sure that the buyers, when they're buying, they get the best price possible for their home or that they're purchasing. And then also for the selling side, we want to make sure that they maximize their net equity because you only get one shot. And we've noticed that there's people that either pick up on a discount broker and then they just put it on MLS and then they lose a lot of
hmm
equity by just thinking about 1 or 2% on the commission for, the on the buy side or the sell side. So.
Talking about condos, so how has the condo collapse affected? Because I know that now everything has to be re-inspected, and I'm assuming that sort of, put a wrench in people buying condos.
Yeah, there when that all came out, every buyer was asking about it, and specifically the older ones in 50s
Mhm.
to 1980s. Every buyer that's looking at that type of condo asks about that type of inspection and making sure that the condo association has the funds to pay for either the remodel of the property to make sure that it's up to the standards in 2023 code, or that the homeowners association also has the funds to not increase their monthly expenditure for each homeowner that lives in the condo because
Or an assessment, yeah. Mhm.
exactly, because that means an assessment will
Yeah.
happen if they don't have the funds.
So my understanding is that you should make sure that your, HOA has only using the max 30% of what they have. They should always have at least 60 to 70% in
Reserves.
reserve before they, when you're looking at property. And that's
Right.
kind of the key. I don't know if it's different, but that's kind of how I was taught to do it a long
No,
time
that's a
ago.
good rule of thumb. I haven't heard that, but we definitely make sure that they have ample funds before we move past the inspection period because that can be a deal breaker
Did
for
you feel
sure.
like you're selling more now? Because
Condos?
yeah, or
Uh,
that never really changed for
No,
you.
it really hasn't changed. We just advise our clients that this is, how it has to be. And there's a lot of people that just want that turnkey experience where they can
hmm
lock and leave and then go
Yeah,
up north when, and if they're seasonal,
right.
because there's more maintenance involved with a single family home. And but there's also some people that moved from the condos because they didn't want to be reassessed because they've been hearing about what's happening. I heard of a project in Sarasota actually that had a special assessment of $1 million per
Oh
a
my
unit.
gosh.
So
Okay.
when that happens, it's very
Mm,
tough to sell a property. And then if that happens, then there's legal disputes and it becomes even more difficult to get financing on the property. So you just have to be careful on, what type of properties you're buying and, look at the financials and have someone advise you to, figure out where your money's best invested.
yeah. And I find that even if you're paying cash, you should seek someone who uh, s- basically assume that you're going to get a mortgage and go through sort of a mortgage company because they're really going to do a fine tooth comb on a property. If you're
Yeah.
not, that's kind of how I've done it in the past too. Um, okay. Well, I think we're good. I appreciate you coming out.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, I love it. I do. Give them your handle on Facebook.
So you can find me at Tanner Tillung on Facebook and Instagram. So
Same thing.
yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
Great. Thank
Great
you.
seeing
I
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye. Bye,
Bye bye.
guys.